Hey guys, KT Samurai from AnimeForums.com again. Here with another GIMP tutorial to show you how to make a basic avatar. So, what we're going to do is I've got 3 images already selected down here on my desktop. We're going to use each one to make an avatar. So not only are you going to learn how to make an avatar, you're going to learn how to make a whole bunch really quickly. Good for you. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to File and New. Open up a new one at a height of 100 and a width of 100, a width of 100 and a height of 150. That's the maximum dimensions you can have on anime forums. And honestly, I like it a lot because it gives that whole portrait feel. It really helps convey the whole idea behind an avatar, I would think. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the first image on my left here, and it's actually a wallpaper. Now wallpapers make really good stock images for this sort of thing because the quality tends to be high, especially when you're on 1:1 aspect ratio like I am now. The quality tends to be high, there tends to be lots of nice details and stuff. They're just really solid stocks. But the problem is they're always huge, like this one is. We're going to have to try and jam chi here into this little tiny box, and as you can see, that just won't work without it looking really cramped. So we're going to go to Image, Scale Image. This thing is 1024 by 768 right now, so we're going to jump it down just a little bit so that she'll fit a little better. I'll put the width to 750. Press Enter to let GIMP automatically calculate the height so that it scales properly. Press the Scale button. That dropped it down a fair amount. We can use that. That's no big deal. So, we're going to press Control A to select the whole deal here. Yep. Control C to add it to your clipboard. Minimize it. Bring it over here. Now, when you have this window open for your avatar, press Control V to paste it. Down here in the layers, you'll see that it's now a floating selection. That means it's not its own layer. So we're going to have to press this button down here in the far left called the Create a New Layer and add it to the Image button. That'll make it its own layer. And that makes things a little simpler for later on. So now that she's in her own layer, you can move it to wherever you want it. I happen to think that this here is pretty nice. I want to keep some of that blue in the background. I'm not sure why. Speaking of backgrounds, you can go over here and delete this one in the layers. You don't need that. It's in the way. Now, all avatars need a border to separate it from the rest of the form. It's about the same general idea as using a frame for a picture that you hang on a wall or keep on your desk. The frame separates it from the rest of the image. And while the border in an avatar can be a whole bunch of different things, I've seen lots of crazy stuff. All we're going to do right now is we're going to make a simple 1 pixel wide border. And that's really easy, actually. So first thing you need to do is you need to make a new layer. So press that button on the left again, like I just did. Call this new layer Border, appropriately. Make sure Border is on top of the pasted layer being Chi. So highlight the border layer, go over to the Paint Bucket tool, and fill up the image. Now this is operating on its own layer. You're not actually filling up Chi with black, so don't worry. Now that we've done this, press Control A to select the whole thing, and go to the Select menu, go to Shrink, and in the Shrink selection, enter 1. Make sure that this thing here is checked. That's very important. Press OK. You can't see it, but the whole selection around it went down by 1 pixel on all sides. And that effectively gives you a border once you press delete, like that. So once you get rid of the little lines, you can't see it so well right now because it has that yellowy junk in there. But there is a 1 pixel wide black border in there, and that's just enough, I think. When it comes to light pictures like this, I don't like having too thick a border. Even a 2 pixel border would be too big. It would really clash with all the lines going on inside here, which are really faint, really fine lines. So don't make sure that your border is actually appropriate to your picture. If you're using something with a lot of blacks, a lot of solid darks and stuff, then use a big thick a big thick border just to add to the overall effect. But for this light, fluffy, lovey-dovey stuff that Chi normally normally encompasses, we're going to use a really short, excuse me, a really narrow one. So we've made one. We'll save it. I'll save it on my desktop as the Chi. Oops. Chi. Why won't you let me type? Chi. There we go. Chi avatar 1 dot. And we'll save it as a JPEG. A JPEG is just big enough for this sort of thing. Hit export. Go ahead and crank the quality up to 100. These things aren't that big at all. Because A4's file size, the maximum file size is actually pretty generous. You don't have to really worry about this ever being too big. Unless you're using a really crazily complex stock photo, stock image, whatever, then you'll have some issues, but otherwise you'll be fine. Now, I mentioned earlier we're going to make 3. We still have 2 down there. And part of the fun is that most of the work is already done for the other 2. We've already made the border, and that's probably the most work we have to do at all. So in order to make new ones, we'll just go over to the layer here where Chi is and trash it. That leaves the border layer. So we're going to grab the next picture down here in the middle, add it to the GIMP. Again, we're going to have to scale this one. She's just too enormous. So go to Image, Scale Image. This is 465 wide. I'll go ahead and make it 250. Hit Enter so that GIMP can recalculate the height. Hit Scale. That knocks her down quite a bit. Control A, Control C, minimize her. Control V to add her. Now remember to hit the create a new layer so that she's her own layer. That makes things a lot simpler. Put her where you want her, like that. Now you'll notice that you can't see the border, and that's because when you pasted her, she was put on top of the border layer. So you need to go to the layer function here, go to Stack, and go to Lower Layer. If you have her selected when you do this, you'll knock her down on the layer list and put the border one there. So now the border's on top, and we've got ourselves a second avatar. Go to Save As. I'll jam a 2 in there instead of a 1. There we go. Export. 100% quality. Again, delete her. Open up the last one. I happen to really like this one here. This is a really nice picture. Go to Image, Scale Image. She's 250 right now. I'll drop her down 100 pixels. She's almost the same size as the avatar, actually, but there's a lot of unnecessary stuff in there that we don't want. So Control A, Control C, go over here. Control V, put her in position. That's pretty nice right there. Layer, stack. Oops, excuse me. She's not her own layer yet. There you go. She's a layer now. Layer, stack, lower layer, and there's a border around her. Again, the 1 pixel wide border works perfectly because lots of really fine lines. There we go. Save as. Jam a 3 in there instead of a 2. Save. Export. 100%. And there we go. Over here, I have 3 perfectly good avatars made for A4. 1, 2, 3. Bada bing. And that's your basic avatar tutorial. Have yourselves a good day. This is KT Samurai from AnimeForums.com signing off. Have a good one.